But let's start with the team that is now threatening the Mets and the Padres for the most disappointing in baseball. I would start with the New York Yankees. Second highest payroll in the game. Worst season in decades. Last place in the AL East. 1-8 against the Red Sox. I could go on, and actually, I will go on and on. Let's take a look real quickly at how the mighty have fallen, at just where the Yankees have fallen short this season. Their vaunted offense, scoring runs, 4.22 runs per game. That's 23rd in the majors. Their vaunted rotation, Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and company, 4.81 ERA, 25th in the majors. Now, obviously, Cole is not the problem. The ERA without him would be even higher, 5.42. That's the rotation ERA. And the Yankees' playoff odds are now down to 0.5%. So people will ask, okay, what happens next? As Brandon Cuddy writes today in The Athletic, probably what we're going to see in the short term is something of a youth movement. They're going to call up some of their kids. We're talking about infielder Oswald Peraza, outfielder Everson Pereira, and eventually catcher Austin Wells. But that's not what Yankee fans want to talk about. What they want to talk about is how this organization is going to turn around, and a lot of them, understandably, are pointing to general manager Brian Cashman as the primary culprit here. I would say that's a fair assessment, but I also do not expect the Yankees to make a move with Cashman. He has 3 more years left on his contract after this season. He's 24, 25, and 26, signed through all those seasons. And beyond that, this guy's put together 25 straight winning seasons. Now, I know fans get frustrated hearing that, saying, well, we haven't won a World Series since 2009. Yeah, I get it, but in the bigger picture, Brian Cashman, overall, not the last couple of seasons, overall, has done a really good job. At the same time, you've got to start asking, okay, then where does the change come? Aaron Boone? Well, he's signed only through next year, and yes, people grumble about him too. I've questioned some of his pitching decisions during his tenure as Yankees manager, and yet, right now, the Yankees are number 1 in bullpen ERA. So that's an area of the game that a manager can affect more than almost any other. Boone's doing just fine there. To fire him, okay, you want to do that, fine, go ahead. But you know what? It would be almost embarrassing, given that the primary problem here, as we've discussed, is roster construction, and that falls on the general manager. So, what does change? Obviously, something has to change, probably multiple things. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. People ask, okay, will the Yankees go away from analytics? No, they're not going away from analytics. No team is going away from analytics. They're here to stay. Now, you can quibble with the application of the analytics. You can quibble with the execution of the analytics. But look at all the teams that the Yankees envy. The Astros, the Rays, the Dodgers. These are teams that make heavy use of analytics. Now, certainly over the years, fans and even some old school people within the game, perhaps especially some old school people within the game, have complained that the balance is out of whack. I would suggest that with the Yankees, perhaps it is out of whack. And I would also suggest that the complaints that some of the old school people in the game have right now, that they are getting excluded, are the same complaints the analytically minded ones had. Hey, we were getting excluded. It's no better this way than it was that way. There has to be balance, and in a lot of areas in baseball, not just the Yankees, this has been lost. That said, what do you do? Well, maybe you'd start looking at the way you've made some decisions over the past few years. They've clearly failed in this regard. You can go right through this roster. Start with Stanton. That, to me, was the original sin. I've written that. That's the first move that got them away from being any kind of athletic, non-lumbering team. They've always sort of been that. They're the Bronx Bombers, right? But Stanton, LeMahieu, Hicks, Gallo, right down the line. Pitching decisions as well, Frankie Montas. Oh, I forgot Donaldson. Include him in there. One decision after another has backfired. They've got to look at their processes. They've got to figure some things out here. I'm not sure what the answer is, but again, clearly things are not working. Now, Brian Cashman's greatest quality as general manager, or one of his greatest qualities, would be, I would say, that he is a survivor. He will survive this. The question is, what does he do to make things better? How does he turn this around? And if I'm Hal Steinbrenner, I'm saying to Brian Cashman, okay, you're going to stay. This is one bad year, one losing year at least. I know there have been other disappointing years recently. But, Brian, you've got to tell me now, how are things going to change? Because things have to change.